South Carolina college student Samantha Josephson got into a car she thought was her Uber.
She was, of course, the young woman killed after she got into a stranger's car thinking it was her Uber.
The body of 21-year-old Samantha Josephson was found in Clarendon County Friday afternoon.
Police are looking for a motive in the chilling murder of a University of South Carolina student.
Samantha Josephson was 21 years old, a senior at the University of South Carolina who planned to attend law school. But last month she was murdered after getting into the back of a car that she thought was her Uber ride.
Something so many of us do without giving it a second thought. Need a ride? Open an app. When a car shows up, hop in.
We know that Samantha Josephson and her friends went out Thursday, March 28, 2019. We know that they hung out at the Hub, they had some drinks, and they went downtown. We know that she missed Greg. She missed her boyfriend. He didn't live in the same town anymore. He lived down in the Charleston area, 2 hours away. They didn't see each other as much as they had when he was at school before he graduated. But they talked. They talked all the time, and they talked throughout that night, and she was begging him to come visit. But they had plans that weekend, and so he stayed in the Charleston area. So as the night wore on, she wanted to go home. That's all she wanted to do. She wanted to go home, but she never got that chance. She tried to do it right. You heard from Marcus Williams, the Uber driver. He came in and told you that he got a call, and they missed each other. And that happens from time to time. They just missed each other. He had to cancel the ride. She tried to do it the right way. What she didn't know was that the defendant's 2017 black Chevy Impala, and it is Nathaniel Rowland's black Chevy Impala, was circling, waiting, lurking, multiple U-turns throughout 5 Points, as you saw Mr. Martin talk about yesterday. Driving the wrong way down Saluda Avenue, mere minutes before the abduction. And what happens just a few minutes after that? As Samantha Josephson is standing on this corner, all alone, what do you see happen? The Chevy Impala, Nathaniel Rowland's Impala, comes driving by as she's standing by herself, circling, lurking, like a shark. Not only does he see her that time as he drives right by her, just 2 minutes later at 2:08, as he approaches again, she is still by herself as he's coming right at her and can see her right in front of him. Pulls into the parking lot, immediately turns around, and as soon as these cars come out of the way, he starts to make his move. Now, an interesting thing about this video, the silver car. As you recall, this silver car comes around and Miss Josephson tries to get in it. She thinks that's Marcus Williams. She thinks that's her Uber. Right here. And as she approaches that car, where is Nathaniel Rowland's car? Right there. Right in his line of sight. Again, looking right at her, trying to get into a vehicle, seeing that she can't because it's the wrong car, seeing that she is confused. And he's lurking. And he's waiting. As the car pulls up, right here, what do you see? She looks back at him. Right there. She looks back at him. They see each other. He knows she's just tried to get in the car. She looks at the car. Again, this must be the car, she's thinking. If it wasn't the other, oh, here's a black car. This has got to be it. She looks. Look at that video for yourselves. There is one person in that car, and there is a seat, a driver's seat, reclined back. You can see it through the silhouette of the back window. What does he do next? He gets so excited that the opportunity has finally presented itself that he jumps the curb. He's been driving around for 15 minutes, pulled four U-turns, driven down the wrong way of the road, and he jumps the curb because there she is. And she gets in the car. What happens next? What does a shark do when it catches its prey? Take the victim below the surface. Out of 5 points. Out of view. To a familiar place. Where the carnage can't be seen. And only to resurface later when the coast is seemingly clear. After this video, she was never seen alive again.
The next time that somebody saw Samantha Josephson, she was found alone in the woods, covered in her own blood, dead. She'd been stabbed multiple times from the bottom of her feet, throughout her torso, throughout her face, her neck, and her head. And the evidence that you're going to hear from this witness chair in this courtroom, that once Samantha Josephson got into Nathaniel Rowland's 2017 Black Impala, she couldn't get out. And she couldn't get out because the child safety lights were engaged. Someone is seen using Samantha Josephson's debit card, Wells Fargo card. 9 attempts. Each one of those 9 attempts unsuccessful.
I saw something, I wasn't sure what it was, so I stopped and I kept looking, and then I guess the more I looked at it, the more it started looking like a body, and that's when I called Ryan down there, and he walked down the fire break to me, and he was like, you know, we were kind of both in disbelief.
Objections overruled.
Go ahead.
And then,
You said you were in disbelief?
yeah, I guess we didn't expect to see something like that, you know, turkey hunting especially.
What's going on, sir? You got your license? You got your license on you? I'm also Columbia Police Department K9. No, no license on you. Why not? All right, man. Who's smoking the marijuana?
I had smoked some earlier, sir, when I was at home.
All right. All right, man. You're gonna have to step on out, man. All right, here's the deal, man. I pulled your car over because it matches the suspect. Get your hand in your pocket. What are you, crazy? Get over here. Hey, get over here. Go, we're running. Hey, I'm gonna release the dog. I can't. I was just gonna see if he'll stop. Bravo Mike wearing a gray sweatpants, gray sweatshirt. Wakima, doors blocked, 500 block. Nunez, keep going. He's gonna be on your left.
Now what we're watching?
It is.
And I know it's moving all around. Is that you?
That is.
Okay. Who is that you're handcuffing?
Nathaniel Rowland.
Did you know him in March of 2019?
Yes.
And were you all, how did you become acquainted with him again in March of 2019?
He had came to my job at McDonald's on Condensed.
You worked at McDonald's. How did you meet him? Did he come in the McDonald's?
He was going through the drive-thru. I was outside.
What were you doing outside?
Smoking a cigarette because I had just got off.
So how did it happen that you talked to him?
He was like, "Hey, Maria," and I was like, "Oh, wow, I haven't seen you in forever," and we exchanged numbers.
Okay, all right. Did you all at that point start dating?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what do you mean by dating?
Seeing somebody every day.
And let's just be honest, did y'all have a sexual relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And at that time, did you have a child?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was your child?
4.
Did she live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he there when you wake up?
No.
And what time did you wake up?
I have to be to work around 7, so I wake up around 5:30, 6 o'clock.
And so around 5:30, 6 o'clock, he's not there.
No, ma'am.
So what did you do when you woke up and he wasn't there?
I called his phone and I texted him.
Did you get a response?
No.
Okay. So how did you feel about that?
I was upset because I knew I had to go to work, and I don't like being late for work.
Okay. So what did you do?
I called my mom, and by the time I got off the phone with my mom, he was pulling in the driveway.
And what, if anything, did you notice about the car at that point?
That it was like dry blood in the car.
Where in the car?
On the dashboard and beside the seats.
When you say the dashboard, what are you talking about?
Where the airbags are.
Like the console, the
Yes,
back of the
ma'am.
console? Okay. And where else did you see blood?
In the back seat.
In the back seat. Was anything else in the back seat?
It was a sheet over the back seat and the back of the driver's seat.
And how do you mean there was a sheet?
It was kind of like covering, but it wasn't all the way covering the seat.
Okay. Was it like draped on the seat so you could see the outline of the seat, or was it above the seat? Or describe
Just like
that.
through over the seat where you can't see.
Okay. Could you see anything in the back seat besides the sheet?
Blood
Where did you see blood then?
on the seat.
On the seat.
Mhm.
Okay. Not the part that was covered, or was it under the? Could you see through the sheet?
Like the part of the seat that wasn't covered, you could see blood.
Okay. What did you do when you saw the blood?
I asked him, "Why is it blood in the car? Did you hit a dog?"
And what did he say?
Mind my business.
All right. And I just realized I didn't ask you something. When he picked you up, what was he wearing? When he picked you up to take you to work, what was he wearing?
The same clothes.
The same clothes from when?
Thursday.
When you got home and banged on the door, did he answer?
Yes.
And what happened when he came to the door?
He looked shook,
And what do you mean by look shook?
like he seen a ghost.
And how did you bang on that door?
Hard like the police.
Banged on it like the police.
Mm-hmm.
And when he looked shook?
Mm-hmm.
He showed up?
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
What did he have on when he came to the door looking shook?
The same clothes.
And what did you do once you got in the house?
I went and took my shower and everything from work.
Did he take a shower?
No.
Did you say anything about that?
Yes, ma'am.
What'd you say?
Why you still have the same clothes on? Why you haven't washed your ass?
Say it again.
Why he haven't washed his ass?
You asked him why he hadn't washed his.
Ass. Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
When is the next time you know anything about this case? What do you see?
When it was on the news, I seen that she was missing, and then they showed the clip of his car.
And what did you think when you saw the car?
It all makes sense to me now.
What do you mean by that?
The blood, she's missing, that's his car.
I do want to ask you this. So you told the jury, you're telling us that you did not help do any sort of cleanup of that car.
No.
So it would surprise you if your DNA is found anywhere on any of the items used to clean up.
He got them out of my house. So of course my DNA gonna be on it. That's my cleaning stuff. It was in my house.
Would we expect it anywhere else?
No.
Beg the court's indulgence.
You mentioned the number 100. Were you able to count the number of stab wounds as you observed Ms. Josephson's body?
Yes, it's over 100. I think somewhere around 120.
Well, tell us what you're seeing with that that interests you as you look at this.
This knife has two blades, and they are relatively parallel. They are bent at the tip, and they're the size appropriate for the wounds that I saw. This is the weapon.
How much blood does a human body only contain?
It's about 4 or 5 liters.
4 or 5 liters?
Yes, sir.
And so in U.S. metrics, in American metrics, what is that?
It's probably close to a gallon.
Okay. And so as you performed the autopsy on Ms. Josephson, how much blood was found in her body?
It was not a lot. I found 20 milliliters in the pleural cavity, right pleural cavity, and really we had difficulty obtaining the blood that we used for toxicology.
All right. And so 20 milliliters is about how much, if you could, again in layman's terms, tell us what 20 milliliters looks like?
Maybe 1/8 of a cup.
Okay. So about this much?
Yes, yeah, a couple tablespoons, maybe 3.
Is there something called a hyoid bone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's talk to the jury about the hyoid bone and what you observed with that.
Yes, sir. For a forensic pathologist, the hyoid bone has a great significance. It's a little horseshoe-shaped bone. Literally, it would fit inside my hand right here, and it sits up high in the neck.
And so if you'll just show us,
sure.
Yeah,
it sits up high in the neck.
Yes, sir.
And it's hooked to the back of the tongue and to part of the larynx. And it's a free-floating bone. It doesn't articulate with anything. It's not like an elbow or something. It's hinged by muscle. So there's muscle of the tongue on one side of it, muscle on the throat on the other side of it. So, and for us, it's the sine qua non, and that which names, of manual strangulation. So if you strangle somebody, you put your hands on their neck and you squeeze, that will fracture the hyoid bone. So when we see a fractured hyoid bone, it is manual strangulation until proven otherwise. The bone, because it sits so high up in the neck, punches and blows to the neck don't affect it. Because it's mobile and it's attached to muscle, again, blows to the neck generally don't affect it. You have to get that squeezing motion to fracture it. So she had a defect in her hyoid bone on the right side. In her case, though, I'm not of the opinion that it's a strangulation. I think it came from one of the stab wounds to her neck. The knife actually got up high enough to sever the hyoid bone.
So it's your suggestion that State's Exhibit number 295, this knife would have gotten high enough to sever that bone?
Yes, sir. And so it doesn't say for us that, for me, it doesn't say absolutely. I couldn't tell you absolutely there was no manual strangulation involved, but I can tell you I would favor that it was done by a knife, by the stab wound.
This thing's so bad. I want to know if you did this thing and tell me. That's all I want to know. Tell me the doggone truth.
A tearful plea from Henry Rowland, the father of accused killer Nate Rowland. His parents say they were shocked to learn their youngest child is now charged in the death of Samantha Josephson, whose body was found less than 3 miles from their home. Nate's mother, Loretta, says her son is innocent.
He is a very good young man. And when I talked to him, and I talked to him yesterday, and he told me, he said, that wasn't him, and I believe him. He said, that's not him.
The couple's other son says Nate was not in the car that surveillance video shows the USC student getting into.
My son was telling me that Nate passed out at a house party. He checked his pockets when he woke up. He checked his pockets. He didn't have his keys. So he walked outside to try to find his vehicle. He found the vehicle, opened the door, seen his keys, and seen all the blood inside the vehicle.
The family is not allowed to visit Nate, but this is what his father wants him to know.
But if you didn't do it, I'm all out for you. You ain't got to worry about it. I'm behind you 100%. And I know he told me, he told my wife he didn't do it. And I know my wife ain't gonna lie about something like that. So I'm behind him 100%. But I can tell you one thing. My son is innocent. And I know that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state have accused our son of a crime that he didn't commit.
Ma'am, I'm not going to hear any claim of innocence.
Okay.
He's been convicted by the jury.
Okay. He's a very caring young man. This is a young man who went through high school, college, played ball, active in his church, never had anything against him. Now I know as a mother, and a mother knows her child, I know my son didn't do this. I know.
How do you know that?
Sir.
How do you know that?
By the way I raised him.
Pardon?
By the way I raised him. And when you're a mother, and you're a truly good mother, and you raise your child in the right way, you would know when that child had done something or did something right or wrong. I can't. And I know he didn't do this.
No, I'm not going to hear any
yes,
claim that of what he did or didn't do.
Yes,
he is guilty of murder. He's guilty of kidnapping.
Yes,
he's guilty of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. And if you had any testimony that you wanted to give for the jury to consider, the trial was the time to do that. I'm not listening to any claim of what he did not do. You are not a witness.
But he's a loving child. He's a good person, very respectful, and respect others. And I thank the court.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak on behalf of the defendant? Yes, sir. You can remain seated if you want to. You can stand or sit.
I'm Nathaniel Rowland. I'm Nathaniel Rowland's father. Now, Judge, I got 4 different kids beside Nathaniel. And believe me, I went through all the schooling from kindergarten to college, and I was right there. I never seen any backbone in his blood. He always been a determined child, all through his life. Now I can't tell you what happened. I don't know what happened. But I know deep down in my heart that this young man, he didn't do this. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for Miss Josephson's family. I am so sorry for her family. I know what they're going through, because we go through the same thing because we cherish our children. But I pray and hope that you be lenient as possible with the evidence that was presented. And, that's all. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, please report. This is Marcy Josephson, Samantha's mother.
All right, thank you.
Words cannot express the anguish our family and friends have endured since he kidnapped and brutally murdered Samantha. From the day I found out I was having Sammy, I was in love with her. As a mother, you worry and pray that your child will be safe, happy, and healthy. When she was sad, I was sad. When she was happy, so was I. Her dreams were my dream, and her death was my death.
This is Samantha's sister, Sydney.
Justice. That's all I can ask for at this point. After discussing my sister this past week, and knowing nothing can bring her spunky self back except for justice, that's all that my family and friends and I want. Like most sisters, that's just the relationship we had, being spicy and going back and forth, knowing exactly how to push each other's buttons, made me laugh and cry. She made me remember not to take life too seriously. She was so funny without even meaning to be. With such plans for the future, her full ride to law school, and together we had plans to have kids that would grow close together, spend much time vacationing at our future beach house, and taking advantage of the life we thought we could have.
So, Judge, I have no idea how to get through this. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, so I apologize. I have a book here that was created from family and friends. In here are over 90 impact statements of friends and family of how they've been devastated for the last 28 months. I only wish that you read these, of how impactful it has hit my community, my friends, and my family. I have this here for you if you wish to read at any time.
Yeah, I do wish to read it. I'd love to, if you would hand it up, please.
In the end, you have taken my baby away. I will never see her graduate from college, law school, walk her down the aisle, and get married. To see the children, the grandchildren, all the milestones that one would normally experience if an animal or a monster did not take them away from us. And for what? What did you get from Sam? $10? $20? He took her life. He took her life. Only an animal or monster does that. Judge, I only wish we could inflict the same or more pain he inflicted upon Sammy. Please, I beg you, please, give him life and never see the light.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Gregory Corbishley, Samantha's boyfriend. I don't have anything written prepared today. Samantha's parents and her sister have shared with me that they lost a piece of themselves. I lost the love of my life that day. I'll never forget the last words that I spoke to her that night when she was with her friends. As I said before, I told her to enjoy the night. She deserved it. She'd just gotten into law school. Couldn't be more excited for what she had in front of her. What sticks with me to this day, and it's what he took from me. She said to me, you know, you are my person. And to me that represents, you know, that we wanted to spend the rest of our life together. I had my plans to move up to Philly with her, to be close to her, to spend time with her, and we were going to tackle life together. Your Honor, this girl that I wanted to marry, I will never find a love like that ever again. And it's because of the defendant standing right there. He took all that from me, and the constant anguish and sadness that I see this family and everyone here that you see behind me, and even more, the pain that they have to endure every day, the texts that I get at 3 a.m. that someone's afraid to get into their Uber. They call me to sit on the phone with them until they get home. That constant paranoia that's instilled in them every day because of this man, and probably many other young females and males out there as well that are out drinking and, you know, just trying to have a good time. Yeah, I just reiterate all that he's taken. You've seen the sadness this week and last week. I would ask for the strictest sentence possible. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hear a lot of mothers tell me what a good child their child is. And quite often I have to unfortunately tell the same mothers and fathers that your child was a good child. But that's when he was a child. And my heart goes out to the Rowland family, as well as the Josephson's family. My heart goes out to someone from the same part of the state that I am from. You know, you participate in sports, and at East Clarendon, I presume you played basketball against C.E. Murray, did you? My high school. So I take no joy whatsoever. Is there anything you would like to say?
Your Honor, I know I'm innocent. But I guess what I know and what I think really doesn't matter. I just wish the state would have done more in finding out who the actual person was, instead of being satisfied with detaining me and proving my guilt. I feel like if they would have done further research in certain areas, that's all I got.
The evidence in this case was, you know, I chose the word an avalanche of evidence, and now I've seen it repeated a few times. I've heard it repeated. But the evidence in this case was so overwhelming. And if there were 1,000 roads, each road led to you. There's 1,000 trails, each trail led to you. I can certainly understand the family being in total disbelief that the child that they raised could do such a heinous thing, could commit such a murder. And I have dealt with the heartless. And you fall into that category. A person without any remorse whatsoever. A person who is totally emotionless. And in the law we call it a depraved heart. And it would be absolutely astonishing, amazing to me for the truth to be that you have engaged in this activity all of a sudden. That there are not signs that your family can point to, that your friends can point to, where if some intervention had taken place, this young lady would have been protected. I don't know that. But as much as your mom feels in the bottom of her soul or pit of her stomach about you, I feel that same thing based on my experience and based on my observing you. Mr. Goldberg made his closing argument and talked about, in the end, the consequences that would have had to exist in order for this not to be you. That someone would have had to steal your car, steal your car keys, kidnap Samantha, kill her with your tool, then bury her in your home territory, then miraculously get the car back to you in time for you to go to the ATM in Sumter and here in Columbia. Then turn over your car back to you with all the blood throughout it, all of Samantha's blood except for several teaspoons. And for whomever asked me for leniency, that's not part of my DNA. She was an amazing person, an amazing human being. And the testimony is here. And she obviously put up an amazing fight against you and left a sufficient trail for the jury to see what you did. The sentence of the court for murder is that you be committed to the State Department of Corrections for life. Any other sentence that can be imposed will be concurrent with life. Since you only have one life, that sentence must be served for the remaining days of your natural life. That's the sentence of the court. If you remove Mr. from the courtroom, Mr. Rowland.